Blind Rocks, though it's an organization that is empowering blind people traveling all around the world, it's also my vision and my life. I really want to commit myself and have been committing myself 100% with Blind Rocks, and I really want to see blind rocking all around the world.
Stick Your Neck Out, the weekly podcast of the Giraffe Heroes Foundation.
US American educator, advocate for the blind and deaf Helen Keller said once, "The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but not vision." Welcome back to Stick Your Neck Out, the podcast to restore your faith in humanity. My name, Jean-Pierre Aguiar Durañona. If you don't find a way, create one. This sentence motivated my guest today, Sristi KC, a Kantari graduate from 2012. In that year, the Kantari course gave Sristi energy and confidence, and she gained the right tools and methods to start her organization Blind Rocks. In Nepal, Blind Rocks' mission is to fully integrate and engage blind people into every aspect of society. Sristi is a dancer, a public speaker, an actress, an adventurer, a motivator, an initiator, and also completely blind. Sristi, you are currently taking part in the show Dancing with the Stars Nepal edition. How is it going?
Actually, I have recently been eliminated from the show, but overall the journey was great. I had a great experience. So for the first time, I got chance to learn dance technically and formally with my choreographer, Kesab Thapa, and other two, Sekhar and Saroz. And it was really a great experience because the way they taught was superb. Their determination and dedication not only taught me about dancing, but also different aspects of life. So I will take that as a great journey with a huge experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pity that you're not longer in the competition, but still, it's beautiful that you managed to really learn from it. What does dancing means to you?
For me, dancing means it's all about expression. It's about articulating what you feel to the people in different languages. So that's what I understood dance.
How do you experience dancing?
So for me, it was a bit different, because other people would see their teachers imitate, observe, and perform. But that was very different for me. So what I would do is I would touch the feet of my choreographer, touch his hips and shoulders and head and all. And that's how I would translate that movement on my body. So actually, it was body to body transmission. So for me, it was more with tactile, with sound, and with this feeling. It was a challenge, but I think I love challenges, So for me, it was a different adventure. So I took that up, and of course, my choreographer helped me a lot for the orientation, for me to understand how far I can go and not. So it was also about boosting my confidence, understanding and trusting my partner while dancing. So that really helped me. And even whenever I perform a solo dance, I always take the measurement of the stage, so that would helps me to create like a internal map, and then I can just perform in my own world.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sristi, you lost your eyesight when you were only 16 years old. Do you mind sharing how this happened?
Yeah, so actually I just had a kind of allergy that used to itch my eyes. So when I went to hospital, I got like a steroid medicine, which is not supposed to put for a longer period of time. So since there was not proper monitoring, so that what caused glaucoma. Then I was frequently in hospital on operation and all. And even the day when I stopped seeing completely, I still thought that it was a temporary thing. I always thought that it's like a fever that would come and go. And that's how I took it to my blindness also. I just thought that it's a temporary time, certain time that I'm not able to see, but I'm sure I will see. So I was with that hope. I think for a couple of years actually, when slowly I started realizing that actually now that's it's not a temporary thing. I have to now live rest of my life as a blind person.
Hope is definitely a really nice, beautiful, and strong feeling. How was the day when you lost your sight? Would you mind to share this with us?
Yeah, so actually I used to love dancing. I mean, I love dancing from my childhood, and then I had to perform in a parents' day. So I was doing a solo performance. Then I went on a stage. That was the very first time I went on a stage. Then I suddenly realized that I was not able to see. Everything was very blur.
Mm.
So, but I still tried dancing. Then I could not see the edge of the stage. So that's how I happened to fall from the stage. And then I realized like there's something wrong with my eyes because I'm not able to see.
Oh, that's really hard. But after this experience, you just kept dancing. That's amazing. Did someone show you how to do it, or you just learned by yourself?
During that time, I should definitely remember my school principal because my mom was also there with me during the Parents' Day, and she started crying
Yes, of
like,
course.
okay, when I fell off. Then we both decided to actually go back home, and we were just returning, and on a get, I met my principal, and she came and she said that like, you're not going back without dancing. She said that I know you can do it, and
Mm,
you rather go back on the stage and perform again, and not just perform the dance, but you are also hosting or moderating rest of the show. So she
cool.
even gave me the extra responsibility. Then I
Mm.
was like, well, I could not deny my teacher, so I had to go. I had that obligation, so I went back on a stage and I performed, and I didn't fell off. And that
Awesome.
gave me kind of a lesson that yes, you might fall, but you can rise up again. So I decided not to give up anymore. Of course, I tried to go learn dancing in different institutions after I got
Hmm.
blind, but in the initial phase, no one was ready to actually accept me as a student, as the dance student, because everybody had this presumption that blind people cannot dance.
Mm.
They were like, it would be very difficult, it would be very time consuming, and they would just back out. But then I said, well, if nobody teaches, I'll teach myself. I can use my imagination,
Mm.
and I will dance however I feel like. So that's how I kept continued dancing. And I'm happy that recently, because of this reality show, finally, you know, even after 10 years,
Yeah.
I got chance to learn dance formally, technically. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did losing your eyesight change your trajectory as a dancer?
I wouldn't say myself a dancer because to be dancer is much more harder thing, and we need to know much more technicalities. I have passion with dancing. So when I got blind and when I was rejected from an institution for dancing, that was the point when I decided that I will actually start using dance as a tool for social change, because I realized that there are lots of don't and can't things
Mm.
always set for the blind and visually impaired people. And I realized that dance was normally not in the list for blind people. They would always encourage blind people on music or, singing and other things, but never on dancing. So I said, well, I will start teaching other blind people how to dance, at least to move, because uh, dance is a great medium of expression, or also it's good for our physical and mental health. So I said, we can't be away from the colorful aspects of life. So I decided, why not use dance as a social tool for empowering blind people. So that's how I slowly actually started advocating for the rights, for the equality of blind, using art as a tool, and dance was one of the major tools.
I mean, it's totally possible. You are actually the living proof of it. I'm sure you have learned a lot about yourself as a dancer and mostly as a person. What things surprise you, take you aback in your everyday life?
So when I got blind, things were changing. And actually, me as a person, I wasn't changed. But the way people started treating, behaving, talking, I felt that I was a different person when I wasn't. So actually, this gave me a vision. That's why I always say I lost the sight but got the vision of life.
Mm.
Because this gave me a vision, because I saw a huge gap that existed between the sighted and the blind people. The way sighted people treated for the blind people, because for the society, I was no longer Sristi. I was one disabled girl. So they started treating me very differently. So I could not tolerate that. I used to get very shocked. I was used to ask myself, why suddenly this to me? Till the age of 16, when I was still teenager or even a
Mm.
child, people trusted on me. But now, when I'm above 16, people actually With my age and experience of life, people had to trust me more just because I was blind. They were treating me like incapable. So actually, I wasn't being disabled, but the society was forcing me to be disabled.
Yeah.
So that what shocked me. So that was the point when I also said this shocking life should be rocking life. That's why I gave my organization name also Blind Rocks.
That's right. And Blind Rocks in Nepal. How, although you are obviously physically and mentally capable of dancing, the dancing community and Nepali society at large rejected you. What is like having a disability in Nepal?
So disability comes with lot of stereotype thinking. It is also associated with the past scene, karma. So they feel that either like your parents have done a sin or you had committed sin in your previous life. That's why you are disabled or you're blind. So it's taken as an inferior things to happen in your life. It's taken as something disaster. That's why, because of all this kind of belief, wrong belief of the people, lots of persons with disability are discriminated. They don't get equal rights and opportunities, and of course, like, there are not friendly infrastructure around. So when we are trying to cope or adapt to the environment, and simply just because the environment is not favorable for us, but that people do not understand, they actually think it's our incapabilities. So with all this kind of discriminative thoughts, hinders our life.
Yeah, harsh. 2012, after you visited the Kantari program in Kerala, you founded Blind Rocks. Can we talk a bit about it?
Yes, Blind Rocks, though it's an organization that is empowering blind people traveling all around the world, it's also my vision and my life. I really want to commit myself and have been committing myself 100% with Blind Rocks, and I really want to see blind rocking all around the world. And slowly and gradually, people accepting us, and slowly and gradually, with this hope to see more and more inclusive and egalitarian environment. So I think Blind Rocks stands to create more inclusive and egalitarian world for all. Actually, Kantari was a great turning point for me. So after I finished my diploma, till that time I was already, I wanted to do something in the social field. I wanted to do something for the blind community because I went through something and I overcome myself. I was able to empower myself. Then I also wanted to empower many other blind people. And Kantari was the best place for me because it was a leadership institution, and and when I got the scholarship and I went there, actually I must say that I found myself. In the beginning, when I had initially lost the sight, I went very quiet. I just didn't want to speak because I always felt that the world was so different for me. They were treating so different. So I used to always get shocked. I wasn't feeling comfortable with the society that I was in. But when I went to the Kantari, that was the example world for me. They had a very inclusive and egalitarian environment. There were not only people with disabilities, there were people from all marginalized communities. And I think all had a story, and that kind of inspired me. I could be myself, I could be independent, I could do things around, and most importantly, I could do things wrong and understand that there is other way of doing things and there is other way of doing things right. So I got a lot of knowledge about running organization, its a structure, fundraising, communication and all. But apart from that, actually I also learned about independent, about confidence, about my own life. And I suddenly felt that, oh, I'm back.
Yeah.
I was a very talkative child and I had gone quiet, and suddenly I started speaking. I could speak to everybody, and everybody I felt that was like my friends. Everybody I felt that they were accepting me, understanding me, and I was like, well, finally I'm back.
Yeah, that's nice. So Blind Rocks was your initial idea when you started at Kantari, or did you had another?
Yeah, in the beginning I had gone saying that I want to start like a old age home, but of course the art was still there.
Okay.
But I thought that I want to empower senior citizens, because me as a youth, I was feeling I have good friends and all, but what would happen when I grow old? I was very scared of that. But slowly, when I started going to the fields, meeting other blind people, doing Blind Rocks activities, I felt this is something that touches my heart more, because I experienced that. So I said, okay, I mean, I could still continue with all this home, but I could take that in the future when I really, get older, whatever. But then I said, like, this is something which is more dear to my heart. So then I completely transformed my project with the knowledge in Kantari, for which I'm also thankful to Sabriya and Paul Cronenberg, the founders. Then I started Blind Rocks.
Okay, Blind Rocks offers a series of innovative workshops that impact interpersonal skills, such as public speaking, facial expression, space awareness, and communication skills. How many set of workshops do you have at Blind Rocks? How do you train for empowerment?
Yeah, so we have different sets of workshops. The first one is, as you said, it's the interpersonal skills, where we actually teach like body language, facial expressions, and all. We do use tactile methods and use theater as a tool, so that blind people actually learn gestures and postures, because these are also things that we normally learn observing, right?
Yeah.
So since especially for the born blind people, when they have never seen other people, they might not know about the gestures and postures. So normally there are a lot of blind people who develops this blindism, which is called like either they keep shaking their head or flipping their fingers and so on. So in order to enhance their personality, we do this kind of interpersonal skills, and also dance, as we were talking more. And apart from that, we also do like a fashion. So we teach blind about how to do the makeup, we teach them about colors, and actually we also organize a beauty pageant for blind people. So we have already organized season 2, Mr. and
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Blind Rockers. I thought this is one
Yeah.
kind of a Miss Universe for blind people. Is it right?
Yeah, it's a similar concept, but till now we have limited only in Nepal. But of course, we do want to make it international. But we were the first to start in Nepal, this Mr. and Miss Blind Rockers. Also, the fashion show for the blind, where they were, walking on a ramp, doing catwalk with the white can, and very proudly.
Yeah,
Then we
that's
also
great.
go for adventures.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so we go like river rafting, we go rock climbing, we go paragliding, so that it helps blind people to trust in their abilities, and also it helps the non-disabled community also to trust our abilities. So we also encourage blind people to take a risk, because yeah, it's a risk always help us to boost our confidence and grow higher. So we'd go this adventure trips as well.
You also have a virtual fitness studio, Fit for Post-Corona. How does this work?
Yeah, so the pandemic situation, like for everybody, it did affect us too. We were no longer able to invite our blind members to our own institution, because blind people are blind, or any persons with disabilities are at a high risk of getting COVID, because we need to touch, we depend more on touch. So but we did want to continue the activities, because we didn't want blind people to stay passive in the home. And we thought, okay, it's very important that they stay fit, they stay happy, and they stay mentally also well. So we decided to start this virtual fitness club, then where through the online platform, we started teaching them the pre-workouts, like the morning routine exercises that they could do to make themselves healthy. Then we also started teaching some dance move online, because we were already familiar with them using audio descriptions, like what could they do, like we could say, okay, now just turn your feet around, and just imagine that you are sitting on a chair, just sit down and stand up, sit down and stand up, so we could give them different kind of audio instruction, so that they could actually understand what to do, and they could actually implement in their day-to-day life. So that's how we started this virtual fitness club, and so far we got a very good response. Our members were very happy, and yeah, they're still dancing and doing their regular exercises and staying happy and healthy.
Cool. Blind Rocks has been also growing over the years. I've heard you are expanding beyond the border.
Yes, so we have been doing, because I always had this vision, because blind people are everywhere in the world, and this kind of activities are needed for any blind people, wherever they live. So I decided that I don't want to limit my vision only in Nepal. I wanted to also travel the world, and I wanted to also impart the skills I have to other blind people residing across the globe. So yeah, so far been to different parts of Europe, to Africa, different parts of Asia, doing the workshop. Actually, we did in Germany too.
Okay, and now you have also an office in the UK?
We don't have like a particular office, but we have a small group formed in UK because like I graduated from UK. I completed my master's degree from UK, and that time I met some very good like-minded people. So we have formed a small group in UK who helps a lot for us to initiate different activities here in Nepal.
Okay. Yeah, great. How can people out there living in a similar situation as you and your family did learn furthermore experience blindness is not as a deficit, but as a possibility to solve problems?
I think if my parents had restricted me to do things, I would never rise up. So it was first my parents who actually believed on me and said, well, if you want to do something, just go for it. Because whatever I said, they never said no. When I said I do want to continue my study, they tried their best to help me. When I said I do want to travel abroad and learn more about my life and something that what I want to do in my life, they trusted me and said, yes, go for it. So I think that was the trust that helped me to find or search for the possibilities in my life. And when I also started moving on life, I never took blindness as a deficit of my life or something disaster that happened to life. I just took my blindness as something to experience life differently and yet beautifully. Yes, I could not see, but that did not mean that I had lost my life. My life was there, and I had my own dream, I had my own hopes. And to be visionary, you don't need sight, right? To do something in life, you don't need sight. All you need is your trust. All you need is that guts. And I think I had that. So saying that, what I would say is like, if parents allow their child to go cross the limit, allow their child to explore their life, trusting on them, it will also help their child to actually trust themselves and find the possibilities. I mean, they might fall, but as I was saying before, we will again rise up.
Yeah, definitely. What's your advice or message for blind dancers and dancers with disabilities?
My message for the blind dancer with disabilities is keep dancing. We need more people. We need more blind dancer. We need more persons with disability dancing on the floor so that people can understand us, empathize us, and be more welcoming towards us, because dance is also, it also teaches like a teamwork, it's a bonding and all, and every culture has a dance. So actually it's a very, very effective medium to integrate persons with disability into the mainstream. So I would say let's dance, but also let's make sure that a lot of people like us are dancing out there.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Sristi, for this very personal talk. I appreciate it a lot and find it was really, really empowering.
Thank you so much, Yampa. It was also really, really great coming to your show and sharing my experience for the people out there. Thank you so much.
Meet the Kantari Sristi KC from Bhaktapur, Nepal, and the team of Blind Rocks. This organization uses interpersonal skills training, dance, fashion, and adventure sports to rock the blind and the society's attitude towards them. Blind Rocks the World at blindrocks.org. Next week, I'm going to be talking to Trevor Molife, the founder of Purple Hand Africa, an organization that supports LGBTQI youth in Zimbabwe through access of psychosocial support, vocational and entrepreneurship skills development. His dream is that LGBTQI youth will be empowered and society will recognize them as contributing citizens. You'll find the Stick Your Neck Out podcast every Tuesday on Spotify, iTunes, our homepage, and every other place where you listen to your podcast. But if you subscribe the podcast, you don't have to look out for us. We'll be coming to you. Tell us also about your frontline hero. Visit us at giraffe-heroes.eu. My name is Jean-Pierre Aguiar Durañona, and I hope you join us also on our social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. But more important, I hope you join us again next week.
Stick Your Neck Out, the weekly podcast of the Giraffe Heroes Foundation.